Woo-wee. Man, I had a lot to get done this week. Gotta wipe all these down before we tung oil them. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Saturday Stating. We are back after a break. I had to take a weekend off last weekend. I hadn't had a weekend off in about 3 months, so that was nice. Just gotta wipe these down and then we'll start tung oiling stuff. Hey, what's up, Jay? Welcome. And oddly enough, this week I'm making some non-weapon items. I've got a craft fair next week at my community where I live. So made a purple heart charcuterie board and a zebra wood charcuterie board, because I find that the older people that live in my neighborhood aren't really super interested in buying wooden swords and daggers. So I still bring the wooden swords and daggers. I just don't sell any, really. This one we're not going to be tung oiling today. This is a prop. I've got okome in the shop and I've been trying to figure out what to do with it. I found out that one of the most common uses for okome is to make prop weapons. So going to try to make some props using okome. So I figured that works out well. And of course we got daggers and yara to tung oil. I don't have anything to stain this week, so everything's tung oil this week. Hey, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Let me wipe these last few yara down. I got some new yara we're going to be tung oiling this week. This is Kamaru wood. I just recently discovered this wood. It is amazing. It has a janka hardness above what you get with black walnut. It's like 3,200 to 3,500 pound force janka hardness, which is, if any of you aren't familiar with the janka scale, that is extremely strong. And I'm also making a boken out of it. I got a bunch of it gifted to my shop by an acquaintance, and trying to see what it's good for making. And it is, so far, the weaponry I've made out of it. I made a few stakes and daggers out of it. Made some assassin stilettos out of it. Worked really well. So I figured I'd go on to some bigger stuff, see what it can do. It is hard as hell to work because it is so hard. And it takes a lot of sanding, but it is awesome stuff. I think I will save these charcuterie boards for the end, because those are going to take some doing. What are you guys up to today? Oh, for those of you guys who are new, this is Warrior Wood and Props. I make wood practice weaponry for Kenjutsu, Kobudo, Buhurt, HEMA, SCA, but I also make props. I also make vampire stakes and wooden weaponry, make all kinds of stuff. I make weird shit out of mostly wood. Although I'm working on making some new stuff out of plastic. I've got some PVC I'm learning to work with this week, and I'm gonna have some new props up on the shop hopefully next week. Hey, thanks, Gift. All right. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the small stuff, I think, and we'll move up. These hickory daggers, I make, usually around Halloween, I make the more extreme taper kind because those seem to be more popular with people who are doing like vampire hunter stuff. This is more of the Native American indigenous style. I want to say it's Apache that made this style of wooden dagger. I started making one of these. I made these originally for a customer as a custom order, and I really liked the design. So, but yeah, these are American hickory. They're bladed edged on the side. This is a bit more of a functional design than the extreme taper ones that I make. All right, put this in the drying room. If you got any questions about what I'm doing or what I do here at Warrior Wooden Props or whatever, feel free to drop those in the chat. I also go live on Sunday mornings at 7:30 a.m. So if you're Eastern time, so if you're awake at that insanely early hour, that's when I do all my finishing work. I get them into the shop early, get all these projects finished. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a cord wrap on the handles on these. I don't know. I might. Haven't decided yet. What do you guys think? All right. And this is an oak yara. This is my shop's specific design of palm stick yara. It has a taper in the center so that when you squeeze it in your fist, it pulls it into your palm, gives you a much better grip. And you can use this as an extension of your fist. Works really well for smacking people in the temple. Similar to the most people are familiar with the kubotan that Takaboda created. The kubotan is basically just a variation on the Japanese yara. These are used in karate and kobudo. Some jiu-jitsu stylists, traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu stylists use them. Leather on the daggers? I don't know. The problem with that, Jay, is that if I put leather's not cheap, and if I put leather handles on the daggers, I have to sell them for a lot. That adds to the price, and I find that the price point for those daggers tends to be around $30 to $40 for most people. So that seems to be the price most people want to pay. If I put leather on there, that's going to drive the price up closer to $50. So jute cord's cheaper. If I do a jute cord wrap, that adds less than $1 to the cost. So that's why I tend to go with jute for stuff, because it gives it a nice little handle wrap, and I don't have to charge a whole lot more for it, because my profit margins are already very slim. But I agree, it would look cool with a leather wrap. It's just, oh, didn't quite get in there. Get in the hole. Get in the hole, tung oil. There we go. That was a lot of tung oil, but all right. That's all right. You can never have too much tung oil, right? But this Kamaru stuff, holy crap, you guys. Like, this is the first time I've made yara out of it. I had to sand the hell out of these. But all of my Kamaru stuff, I'm pretty sure, is going to come with a lifetime guarantee, because I can't imagine what you could possibly do to break these, or the boken. Like, you'd basically have to find like a concrete post and just smack the shit out of it until it broke. All right, be right back. I feel like YouTube's trying to get too fancy with these lives lately. They're like telling me to add a, what is that? Add a sticker. I don't want to add a sticker. All right, last one of the Yara. Whew. All right. Is that all the Yara? Oh, nope. That was not all the Yara. I forgot. This is, these are orange Osage. I had a custom order a couple weeks ago for a fish bopper and one other item out of orange Osage. So I had some leftover cutoffs from the orange Osage, and I do not let wood go to waste. So I made some pocket Yara out of them. But orange Osage is fun stuff. It looks really nice. It's insect resistant, decay resistant. A lot of the colored woods, anything that colored tends to be decay and insect resistant. So it's a good wood. I'm going to try to squeeze some of this tung oil into these holes here. You got to oil your holes, people. Nobody wants a dry hole. So I'm sorry. I apologize for that statement. But you definitely got to make sure the tung oil gets in the hole. Hey, what's up, Eric? Welcome. Nice hot dogs. You like my hot dogs? Yeah, I wouldn't suggest eating these. All right, the orange Osage ones are done. Put this up over here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to create more space in my drying room. I am getting to the point where I'm running out of space. Wetter than Otter's pocket. That's funny. But yeah, tung oil's good stuff. It penetrates the grain of the wood, gives it a nice finish, and when it oxidizes, it dries hard, so it increases the strength of the wood, which for stuff like Kamaru is honestly not even necessary, but it still gives it a nice finish, so I use it on that anyway. All right. Let me toss this and get another towel, because sometimes if you're using colored woods, you don't want to stain the lighter colored woods. You guys are hilarious. And I sold out of these. These are my wasters. These tend to be used by people in like Boo Hurt, SCA, HEMA. They're just practice swords. But I tend to be popular with the Boo Hurt guys because all of my wasters come with a guarantee. If they break during sparring when they are not supposed to, I replace them free of charge. You don't have to return the old one. You just let me know how it broke. Send me a picture so that I can figure out if it broke because of like a mistake with wood grain or if it was an issue with the design. Because if it's an issue with the design, I want to make sure I fix it. And all of the boken and wasters in my shop are guaranteed not to break during sparring. Under normal use. For up to 2 years. Some things I will guarantee for longer. But the only time I won't replace it is if, like, you know, you did something stupid. Like, smacked it against a telephone pole with, like, a baseball bat repeatedly. Which is really the only way you could break this. Hey, I make all kinds of stuff, man. Won't let you down. I make all kinds of stuff. I make practice weaponry. I make Halloween costume props. I make props for cosplayers. I make wooden weapons. I make actual weapons. I make battle bats. I make all kinds of stuff. I'll do a little show and tell at the end of the live here. Show you guys some of my inventory. People seem to like it when I do the show and tell at the end. We'll do that. But this here, I call this a broadsword waster. It does not have a cross guard. Mostly because the Boohurt guys, they can add cross guards if they want them. It also doesn't have a handle wrap or anything. I find that the Boohurt guys, they mostly just use athletic tape, so it doesn't make sense to put a handle on it or put a handle wrap on it because that's just going to add to the price. And it's called a waster for a reason. Eventually it will break. I mean, that's the whole point of it. But you don't want it to break too soon. A good waster should last you at least a year, if not 2, under normal sparring use. The ones that I sell in my shop, like these, I use tung oil on. A lot of times when Boohurt guys come to me directly to order them, I tend to use lemon oil and mineral oil instead of tung oil because they seem to prefer that. Mineral oil will make the wood softer on the outer layer and it stays hard on the inner layer. So when you swing it, it has a tendency to dent instead of crack. Makes it last a lot longer. The only difference is you have to reapply the oil if you're going to use it. So, you know, every time they're getting ready to spar, the day before or the night before, they'll give it a mineral oil soak. Tung oil is a little more permanent. You don't have to reapply it. Well, it depends on what type of wood do I use for what applications. For most of my practice weapons, the standard stuff, I use oak. Red oak is pretty easy to come by. This particular one is white ash. I had a vendor who came. White ash is hard to get these days. We have a thing here in the U.S. called the emerald ash borer. It's a bug that has eaten a lot of the ash forests. And I had a vendor. They had some ash trees come down in a storm. He was able to salvage the wood, and I was able to purchase some. So I've got some white ash stuff in my shop right now. I've got some yara. This is probably the last of these broadsword wasters I'll be able to make out of the white ash because I've only got a few pieces of white ash left, and most of them, because it was a limited inventory, the grain isn't configured quite right. So that's one of the other reasons that my wasters and boken have a guarantee, is because I configure the grain to make sure that the grain is facing the right direction. You don't have any cross grain that can cause cracks or breaks. Unfortunately, the last 2 blanks that I have that I could make these out of all have cross grain, so I probably won't be making any more of these after this one sells. I sold out of them last week. I don't know, I might be able to make a few like smaller pieces out of the white ash I have left. I might have 1 piece left that I could still make a sword out of, but I'll have to wait and see. I'm in Florida there, Jesus. Hey, what's up? We got a fish, dude. Alexander, you on here panhandling my guy? Hickory would definitely be a type of wood. Matter of fact, that one of the next pieces I'm getting ready to tung oil is hickory. It's American hickory. Give me 1 sec. So I made an Atasi club. I have a custom order that's coming in the near future. They wanted an Atasi. This is I think Comanche style of club. It was a wooden club that they used. Has a flared handle. This is American hickory. But yeah, I make all types of wood. I make stuff out of hickory. The daggers that I did a minute ago, those are also American hickory. They're just a little thinner. This is a much thicker piece. Make you an axe handle block out? Yeah, but my guy, you can buy an axe handle. Probably a nicer one than I could make. I could make you an axe handle. It'd be ridiculously expensive. Alex, stop panhandling on my live. Good gracious, my guy. Go start a GoFundMe or something, my guy. Yeah, I make walking sticks. Yes, I do. I have walking sticks that are already available on my eBay store. You just go to eBay. Easiest way to find my shop is just to put vampire steak in the search bar, and like the first things that come up are probably going to be mine. But Warrior Wood and Props is on eBay. You can also find the link in my link tree in my bio here on YouTube. They'll take you to the shop. But yeah, I do. I actually have some really cool ones that I do. They're just some basic like hardwood. They have a rubber, like a. I use liquid rubber. I dip the tip in liquid rubber about 3 or 4 times, so they got a nice thick rubber tip that protects the bottom. And they have a handle. I wrap the handle in paracord, so if you need cordage, you can unwrap that handle and you've got cordage. All right, there's our Atasi club. I think that's going to be nice. It's going to have to get a second coat tomorrow probably. But the client with a custom order, he wants his slightly smaller than this. So, but I hadn't made one before, so usually when I get a custom order for something I haven't made before, I make a proof of concept first, just to make sure it's something I can actually do. Whew. Well, I think I need another rag. Liquid rubber. Dave, the thing I just had, that's an Atasi War Club. It was used by, I believe, the Comanche tribe. Have ever made bucklers or shields? Actually, you know, that's funny. Jesus, I actually am working on one right now. I have the slats all cut for it. I just need to assemble the damn thing. But it's my first time making a shield. We'll see how well it works. I'm making it out of hard maple slats with oak cross beams. I think it's going to work. We're going to see. Oh, Blackthorn. Yeah. In Ireland, you guys got the shillelagh, right? Yeah. I love those. I actually made one a while back. I made a custom shillelagh for a guy out of Blackthorn. It was a lot of fun. Did the whole like fire hardening of it at the end. It was good. Heavy? Is what heavy, Jesus? Yeah. Yeah, Blackthorn's good stuff. Jesus, give me some context on what you're asking about heavy. Hey, Didi, welcome. I would scroll up on the chat, but my hands are covered in tung oil, or my gloves are anyway. So this is the next last weapon that I got. This is the one I'm most excited about. This is Kamaru wood. It is a boken. This is my shop's straight edge boken style. This is mostly used by people who do Aikido, Aikijitsu, and Kenjutsu. Every now and then, I do get some ninjutsu and nimpo stylists that buy these style of boken. I don't have a steam bender, so I don't bend my boken, because if you don't steam bend your boken and you're just cutting across the grain, the boken's just going to snap. So, oh, the shield, no. Hard maple is actually pretty light. That's why I chose it. It's durable and light. The slats are about a 1/2 inch. I mean, it could take a beating. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still building it. It's my first shield, so we're going to see how it holds up. But this Kamaru, you guys, the Jenka hardness on this is, like I said, 3,200 to 3,700 pound force Jenka hardness, which is absolutely insane. And this is the first time I've made a boken out of one. I'm really looking forward to impact testing this, which I'll probably do tomorrow before I put it up on the shop, just to be sure it holds up the way I think it will. I can't imagine it not holding up the way I think it will, but I still impact test every new practice weapon that I make, because like I said, I guarantee all my wasters and boken, so I have to impact test them. But I have a feeling that when I impact test this thing, it is not even going to budge. Hey, no worries. Hey, Zeus, thanks a lot for hanging out with me. I appreciate the subscribe. Have a good day at work, my guy. Well, yeah, this one is going to be expensive because Kamaru is not a cheap wood. But I am going to probably give at least a 10-year, if not a lifetime guarantee on this boken. Because it depends on what the impact test shows, but I cannot even imagine this taking a dent. You guys, it is heavy. But I would say this is about real sword weight. Because this wood is so dense, it definitely has the weight of a sword this length. And it is sturdy as hell. Serious color. Yeah, this Kamaru stuff's got kind of an interesting, it's like a sienna kind of color almost. Sometimes it gets a little darker, but it's usually kind of like a brownish, like a burnt sienna kind of color. Yeah, and this one will get a second coat of tung oil tomorrow just to make sure it's nice and pretty. This, like I said, the Kamaru does not need tung oil. It doesn't. The tung oil is not going to do anything to increase the durability of this sword. It's just going to make it look nice. That's about it. All right. And now we got to do the boring stuff, you guys. Which I got to try to figure out how to do without making a complete mess of my table. This is my catch-all table, though, so it's kind of meant to make a mess. Oh, yeah, Jay there's had one of my boken for quite a while. Oh, thank you, Garrett. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's the natural color of the wood. The oil that I use doesn't affect the color at all. Thank you. Hey, Total Comedy, how's it going? Welcome. So, like I said, I got a craft fair next week. Every now and then, I'll do a craft fair. My community that I live in here in Florida, they host a craft fair twice a year. It's mostly old people because I live in Florida. I'm like the youngest guy in my neighborhood. I'm 48. Like, most of the people in my neighborhood are like in their 60s or older. So charcuterie boards tend to do better. You know, most of the old ladies in my neighborhood aren't super interested in boken or wasters or wooden daggers or vampire stakes or battle bats or any of that stuff. However, I do bring all that stuff to the craft fair just because I love to see their faces. It scares the shit out of them, and it's hilarious. A lot of them are already scared of me because I have tattoos and a mohawk, which I find hilarious because I don't consider myself particularly intimidating. I'm kind of like, when I get angry, it's kind of like having a puppy bark at you. Like, you know, I don't think I'm that intimidating of a guy, but I'm younger, you know, and it's a fairly affluent neighborhood, you know. I don't look the part. I don't golf, you know. Not really. The only time anybody in my neighborhood really sees me is either at one of these craft fairs. Every now and then they have a dance class at the club in our neighborhood, and I'll go to that every now and then with Angie. But for the most part, the only time they see me is during the craft fair or when there's a hurricane. Because that's kind of what I'm known for in my neighborhood. I'm probably one of the few able-bodied men in my neighborhood, and I'm handy with an axe and a chainsaw. So When a hurricane comes through, the first thing I do is grab my chainsaw and my axe and my gloves, and I go door to door and help people in my neighborhood. It's also really nice because I can usually harvest some wood because trees are always down after hurricanes, so it's a win-win. I get to help out some people because after hurricanes here in Florida, these contractors come around and just try to bleed people dry, you know, charging them $3,000 to move a tiny tree to the road. So I try to help my neighbors out so they don't get taken to the cleaners by these contractors. Flame sealing technique, not really. I tend to stay away from fire stuff, and I'll tell you why. Like I've had a lot of customers that over the years, when like, especially for like daggers and stuff like that, they want their stuff to be fire hardened, right? And the truth is, fire hardening doesn't work on dry wood. It just doesn't. It doesn't do anything. If you're using like green unseasoned wood, then yeah, fire hardening is great. It works out really well. But if you're using kiln dried or properly seasoned wood like this, doing any kind of fire on it, what you're doing is you're removing, it's kind of like taking all the carbon out of metal when you're forging metal. On wood, if you're taking that last little bit of moisture out, what you've done is you've opened up the grain on the wood first, and second, you've made it brittle as hell. Hang on, let me put this away, and I'll finish explaining. So, like, if you've ever seen Forged in Fire, for example, every now and then on Forged in Fire, they'll have, like, a shafted weapon, like a spear or a halberd or something like that. And I've seen time and time again where these guys, they'll make these super beefy shafts, right? Which you would think, you know, it's like an 1.5 inch wide shaft. It should be super strong. But then they'll take a blowtorch to it to try to give it tiger stripes and make it look cool. And what they've effectively done is turned that wood into a brittle piece of wood. And a lot of times the guys that fire harden or use fire to decorate their wood on those shafted weapons and pole arms, their shafts end up breaking during the testing. And it's because they decided to dry their wood out completely and make it brittle as hell. Now, like I said, if you cut a branch from a tree or you cut a piece from a tree and it hasn't had time to season or hasn't been kiln dried, then absolutely fire hardening is great. It works absolutely great on that. Like I said, when I made the shillelagh out of the blackthorn, you know, it was green. So it was green blackthorn, which is what you're supposed to use. And then you fire harden it and it works outstandingly. And it also gives it a nice cool, like black and brown kind of differentiation in the grain. It looks awesome. Oh, thanks, won't lay you down. Appreciate that. A tactical. It was a charcuterie board. I had to put a handle on it. This handle, this isn't great for spanking. The handle's really short. I have made paddles before, though, for custom orders. One of the first custom orders I ever got when I first started out, I was on Etsy before I got kicked off of Etsy. Etsy does not like me at all. But when I was first starting out, I had a custom order from a BDSM person who wanted a barbarian sword paddle made out of oak, and I made this really cool barbarian sword shaped spanking paddle. I gave it a full tung oil immersion for like an hour. I made that thing strong as hell. And then they ghosted me, basically. I never heard from them again. And that was before I realized I should probably take deposits. So that sword finally sold, I think, earlier this year. But yeah, I've made paddles before. I don't kink shame. Oh yeah, it was awesome, dude. It was thick oak. It was shaped like a barbarian sword. It had a 1.5 length handle, so you could wield it one-handed or two-handed. But yeah, it was beefy, dude. And the tung oil, like this is a wipe down that I'm doing right now. When I say a tung oil immersion, I put down a large tub and I basically fill it about 1 to 2 inches at the bottom with nothing but tung oil. And I lay the weapon into the tung oil and let it sit there for a couple hours until it's completely soaked. Then I wipe it down. And if you want something that's going to last forever, that's what you do. I don't do that on my normal stuff because it uses a lot of tung oil, and that's really expensive. You end up using an entire can of tung oil to do that, and it's kind of wasteful. But it was a custom order, and that's what they had paid for, the price that they had agreed to, and then of course they never bought it, so that was no fun. And that last charcuterie board, that was Purple Heart, which is another wood that I work with that I absolutely love. It looks super cool. And it sands up so nice. It's insect resistant, decay resistant. And it's probably one of my favorite woods to work with is Purple Heart. Matter of fact, I make these Rudis trophy swords out of it, and I just sold out of those. I probably should have made one this weekend. I didn't even think about that. Well, there's always this later this week I'll have to make one. Hey, what's up, Viking? Yeah, I remember you. Welcome back. All right, so you guys, that was my last piece. You guys want to do some show and tell real quick? So, like I said, this one's not going to get tung oil. This one's getting painted because it's going to be a prop sword. It's going to get a chrome paint job, and then the faux blade's going to get an aluminum-like style paint, slightly darker, slightly less lustrous paint over the blade so that you can differentiate between the blade and the shaft. And it's going to get a nice handle wrap. But this is all going to get painted up. It'll be a prop sword. It's okome wood, though, so it definitely will not work as a sparring weapon. It'll work as a stage weapon. So, one of the projects I'm working on, I'm really hoping I can get this done before Black Friday. I got this awesome piece of rosewood that I've shaped out, and I'm making a Polynesian war club out of this. I've got to do a little more shaping on this curve here. Because there's a couple of voids in the wood. It's rosewood, though. It's Hawaiian rosewood, which is insanely durable. But I want to make sure that void is out. And then I'm going to grind some indents in here with my Dremel tool. It's going to get a row of shark teeth here. And it's going to get another small row of shark teeth here. And it's going to get a handle wrap. I haven't decided what I'm going to wrap it with. It is 4 feet long. This thing is a beast. Like, it is going to be a behemoth when it's done. But I'm really looking forward to doing this one. Oh, thanks. We'll let you down. I know. Like, I'm not really a YouTuber. I'm just a guy who makes weird shit and puts it on YouTube. So, I don't really know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing in the shop. I just don't know what I'm doing on YouTube. Oh. So here, let me put some stuff away, and you guys want to see some battle bats? Oh, thanks, Viking. I appreciate that, man. What do you guys want to see? You want to see battle bats? What do you want me to bring in from the inventory room? Thank you. Won't let you down. Like, I pretty much made this shop so I can make all the weird shit that nobody let me make as a child. Like, when I was a kid, I loved making weapons, and it constantly got me into trouble. And now that I'm an adult, there's nobody to tell me I can't. So I can make all the weird shit I want. So what do you guys want to see? You want to see battle bats? You want to see, like, Monkey King cudgels? What do you guys want to see? I got a lot of weird shit. Battle bats? All right, battle bats it is. I got one thing I want to show you guys before I grab the battle bat, though. I've been trying to figure out what to do with this forever. I think I'm going to try to finish it up this year. So this was early on in my shop. This was a piece that came down during Hurricane Ian, and I was still learning how to embed spikes, and so this was the first one I ever embedded spikes with, and I got epoxy all over the place, but I feel like I should finish this one up and sell it, 'cause I think this would, you know, it's basically a club with spikes in it. Whip it all out. But yeah, I feel like this would be fun. I need to finish that one up. All right, let me go grab a few battle bats. I'll be right back. Well, I just realized the other two battle bats that I currently have in stock are over at the house. The only one I have here in the shop is this one. I call this one the no-brainer. It is an axe battle bat. It has a table saw blade cut in half. I flipped it so that the teeth go down on both sides. It is embedded in the wood with industrial epoxy and plumber's putty. It is in the wood, like at least an inch into the wood, about a half inch into the wood. And, you know, fluorescent orange and black stencil. This one's up on the shop right now. But yeah, this one was a fun build. Right? I love this thing. So I had this was another proof of concept. I had a custom order last year for a guy. They have an axe bat like this on a game. I think it's called Days Gone, I think is what it's called. And so he wanted an axe bat, which I had never made one before. So I made this one before I made his. His didn't have the paint job on it. He just wanted it to be regular wood. And I distressed it for him so that it looked like the bat from the game, because he needed it for a photo shoot for some cosplay stuff. But the one that I made that I kept in the shop, I gave it a cool paint job. And yeah, I really enjoy this one. You see, the teeth go down no matter which way you swing it. You swing it that way, doesn't matter which side you swing it from. I do not play Borderlands. You think I'd survive the zombie apocalypse? No, they're not. Truthful truth. It's, you know, it's kind of like a nail bat. Like, I make nail bats for people sometime, and nail bats are extremely heavy. They look cool. And, you know, I would imagine you could probably get a few hits in with this thing before the blade's bent on you. I mean, they're strong, but I don't know what kind of, like, I don't impact test these, so I don't know. But yeah, that's actually a joke among a lot of my friends because of all the weird shit that I make, is that in the event of a zombie apocalypse, everybody's coming to my place because I've got all the weird freaking weaponry. But I call it the no-brainer. Because, you know, zombie apocalypse, no brain. But yeah, it's fun. I'm not sure how functional it would be, but it looks cool. It will kill. Yeah, it will definitely kill. I wouldn't want to get hit by it. But yeah, I make all different kinds. I've made bats with spikes. I've made bats with blades. I made a machete bat for a guy last Christmas, which was really fun. I wish I still had the proof of concept on that one, but it already sold. It was chili pepper red with a black paracord handle. It had a machete blade embedded into the bat, and then it had spikes all around the top back of it. It was pretty cool. No, I don't run a bolt through it. I've seen bats like that, but the thing is, if you do that, you have to cut all the way through the bat, right? To put the blade all the way through. And so what you've created is an extremely weak bat that will break. The bolt, you know, like the other thing is, like, I've seen the ones where they put the bolt through so that the blade will spin. But you don't want the blade to spin if you're hitting with it. You want it to hit. Because if I hit somebody with the blade and it's on a bolt, it's just going to rotate. Well, that's why I don't really I don't really use that bolt method. I've seen a few bats online that people sell that are similar that have that. But no, I went with a straight up in bed. It's embedded in the wood and it's not going anywhere. I've given it like one swing test like on a watermelon and it did great, but I haven't hit it against anything that like is super strong. But since I didn't have another battle bat, I did bring another one. This is something else that sells really well in my shop. This is a tenarashi. It's a samurai war club. These were used. Samurai carried war fans that were made of iron that would fan out, and often that was used as a weapon, as a tertiary weapon, also as a disciplinary tool for their subordinates to smack them over the head. The thing was, those fans were not cheap, and they had just basically a single pin holding them together. Sometimes they would break. So this was their answer to that, the tenarashi, which just means practice stick, which is pretty much what it is. So they could hit them with this. It still looked like a war fan. And this is used in Kobudo. It's used in Koppojutsu. It's used in Tessenjutsu. Used in a lot of different things. Your bunghole name is Showgirl. That's great, Edward. Thank you. I feel like we're a lot closer now. Thank you for that information. All right, what else do you guys want to see? Anything else before I log off today? I've got stabs, I've got cudgels, I've got vampire stakes, I've got machete wasters, I've got practice swords, I got all kinds of shit. It's like an old police club. Yeah, I actually sell those too. I have to call them tire thumpers though. If you go to my shop, I have to relist it because I accidentally put Billy Club on it, which I don't know why I did that, and it got flagged, so I got to relist it as a tire thumper. But you can sell tire thumpers, you can sell fish knockers, which are the same thing, but you can't call it a Billy Club. It's either a tire thumper or a fish knocker. All right, whatever I want to show, let me see what I got. Let me go look at my inventory room. Be right back. All right, I brought a variety of things this time. Let's go over it. If I can get in here without knocking any of this stuff over. So these are my Nightwing Eskrima sticks. They're basically paracord and rattan. I take the rattan, I prime it, paint it. It gets 3 coats of matte black paint. It gets electric blue paracord on the front. These are very popular with my Eskrima Kali people. They look similar to Nightwing, Dick Grayson's Nightwing Eskrima sticks. Sometimes they sell with cosplayers. I used to make these out of oak, but I found that when I started making them out of rattan, nobody wanted the oak ones. They only wanted the rattan ones. So I stopped making the oak ones. Now I only have them out of rattan, but these are up on the shop already. But I love these. They are functional. They do hold up. The 550 cord holds up just fine. As I said, I also make cosplay props. These are all plastic and foam. Hey, take it easy, Viking. Thanks for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. These are all plastic and foam. The chain is plastic. Let me see if I can swing these without hitting the back behind me. I probably can't, but these are swingable. See if I can break things. And they hold up. So yeah, I should not be allowed to do things without supervision. But yeah, these are fun. I have a cosplayer who I originally started making these. He does the 1989, I think it was, Ninja Turtle movie cosplay with the whole Jim Henson style latex costume. He wanted a set that he could take to conventions that would fit with his costume. This was the proof of concept. He has the final ones. These are selling on the shop. These are selling for way cheaper than what his were, because this is when I made all the mistakes. They're not big mistakes. There's just little stuff like you can see where the epoxy kind of, colored the got into the paint a little bit in some areas, and there's a few minor flaws. But yeah, these were fun. I've made a few of these for different cosplayers that do the Ninja Turtle thing. And this is one of my mini battle bats. This one's called the Gatorade. I've made these for, I originally made this for a kayaking group here in Florida. They go kayaking, and they were concerned about animals being aggressive. And I guess they wanted something they could put in the kayak and carry. So I made a little trench bat, basically. Little trench club. Put spikes on it, gave it a cool little paint job. Put Gatorade on it, gave it an orange handle. I haven't gotten sued by Gatorade for this, so that's a good thing. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my apron. I think this was a gift from somebody. Actually, I think Jay got me this as a gift, if Jay's still here. Yeah, this is coming super handy. I love this freaking apron. It just helps me not be dirty. And this is, every now and then I have a weird cutoff. I'm not sure what to do with, so I made a Vampire Hunter stake sword. Basically, it's kind of balanced like a rapier. It's very thin, but it's oak, so it's strong. It's got a tung oil finish, jute cord handle. But yeah, just basically it's a vampire stake for a guy who likes to do fencing. Yeah, it's taking a beating, this thing. I'll probably get a new one in a year or two. It's still good, though. It's taking a few hits, but it's holding up. But yeah, so that's my one of my Vampire Hunter swords. I made I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Mistborn trilogy by Sanderson. I've made they have these things called dueling canes in those books, because in those books there's people who can manipulate metal, basically, and so metal weapons are kind of useless. So they make these dueling canes, which are pretty much just wooden swords that they can also use as a cane. That have no metal on them, and the nobility are trained in using them. So I made a few for different characters in the book, because the book doesn't really describe what they look like. They just call them dueling canes. So I made one for Ellen Bencher, who's one of the characters. That one sold earlier this year. And I've still got one for, I can't remember what his name is. He was a spy in the books. He was kind of an orphan, street rat kind of guy. But he carried one, so I made one for him. Yeah, when life gives you gators, make Gatorade. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, man, this has gone pretty long for Saturday staining. I'm normally only on for about 30 minutes. All right, guys, I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me today. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. to do Sunday finishing work, where I finish up all the stuff that you saw today. If it needs a handle wrap, it gets handle wrapped. The stuff that needs, like the yara, get the palm cords for your fingers. All that fun stuff. I'll be doing that tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're up at that ungodly hour, feel free to come hang out with me in the morning. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Am I just supposed to keep calling you Won't Let You Down? That's a really long thing to say. I'm just going to call you Won't. I appreciate it, Walt. Thanks. I'll be on tomorrow morning, like I said, 7:30 a.m. I tend to do 2 lives a week, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. And tomorrow I'll be, God, what am I doing tomorrow? I am going to be putting bumpers on the charcuterie boards, handle wrapping those daggers. I'm going to do the palm cords on all those yara. I also have a set of these that are finished. The paint is finished on them, so I'm going to be cord wrapping the ends of those. I have a Hickory prop knife that I'm hoping to get painted after I finish this, and I'm hoping to have it done tomorrow. I don't know if I will. And I also have a pair of prop Raphael sai that I'm going to be handle wrapping. That's another one of my Ninja Turtle props. It's my last set of sai. These ones that I'm working on are probably going to get auctioned instead of sold at full price because I don't know what happened with the mold. They're injection mold rubber, which usually works great. But this set, for some reason, they took a slight warp, and I've done everything I can to try to get the warp out, and the warp just won't go away. So they still work. They look fine, and you can take them and kind of bend them straight, and they'll stay straight for a few minutes. They just won't stay that way indefinitely. So, and they've got one of them's got a minor spot where like a bubble got into the mold. So I just don't sell stuff that's not perfect at full price. So those will probably get put up for auction tomorrow once I get them finished. Yes, Ninja Turtles, Dr. Jellyfish. I do Ninja Turtle props. I actually also make Donatello bow stabs. Davey Lozano, who is a pretty well-known Ninja Turtle cosplayer. He does Donatello. He does Deadpool. He does the Grinch. He has a whole bunch of different cosplays that he's known for. He's mostly known for Deadpool and Donatello. I made his staff for his Donatello cosplay. I made the nunchucks for his group's Michelangelo. And I made the Raphael sai for their Raphael. The only Ninja Turtle weapon I haven't done yet, and I'm working on it right now, is Leonardo's katana. Trying to figure out a way to make a con-safe set of Leonardo katana. I have not figured that out yet. I'm working on it, though. Hopefully I'll have that figured out soon. The donation button? I don't have a donation button. But if you want to go to my shop and buy something, that would be great. I don't know that I have a donation button. I'm not looking for donation, but thank you. I appreciate it. But the link to my shop's in my bio in my link tree. Warrior Wood and Props on eBay. You're more than welcome to go check that out. But probably one of these days I will figure out the donation button, but I haven't done it yet. So, but no, I'm doing good. But I appreciate the offer though. Thank you. Anybody got any questions before I head out? I'm gonna put a few things away. And what do you guys think? Next weekend, should I finish this thing and get it up on the shop? Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate that, Walt. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know what I should do with this thing. It's been hanging on the wall at the shop forever. I put it up as a deterrent. It's like the first thing you see when you come in my shop. So I have this and a Jason mask hanging up on the wall. I feel like people see this and they leave because they don't know what they walked into. Let me go grab that. But this kukri prop here is actually my test blank for doing the Leonardo katana. This is it's PVC plastic, which is, it looks like it has a blade, but it's not sharp. The tip's not sharp at all. I'm going to see how well this PVC. I scuffed it. I'm going to give it a paint. See how well it takes the paint. Sometimes that metallic paint and plastic do not get along. It works great on wood, but we're going to see. We're going to see how it does on PVC. If it'll hold that paint, then I can make those Leonardo katana out of PVC, and that should work awesome. Yeah, as soon as I get off of this live, I'm going to prime this and paint this, and hopefully tomorrow when I come in, they will look good. We'll see. Oh yeah, don't go to warriorwoodandprops.com. Go to the eBay link. Don't go to warriorwoodandprops.com. That is a Shopify store, and earlier this year, I took a month off to go. I take a month off in the summer to spend with my son and my daughter and hang out with family. Because I don't ever get days off, so I take 1 month off a year. And while I was gone, the shop was shut down, and when I tried to turn everything back on when I got back, it wouldn't turn back on. And Shopify has absolutely horrible freaking customer service. I can't even cancel my website, which is what I've been trying to do for a month. I've been trying to just cancel it. I do not recommend Shopify at all. They are terrible. They're fine until you have a problem, and then they're worthless. So yeah, I can't even cancel my website. So right now, the website's only being used for custom orders. If you want a custom order, there's a contact me button at the top of the website that you can contact me through, but the inventory itself, I cannot get it to reactivate because Shopify freaking sucks. But you can find all my stuff on eBay. There should be an eBay link in my link tree for the eBay shop. Is it an asymmetrical haircut? I mean, I would say it's definitely not symmetrical. It's just the mohawk. I don't know how symmetrical it is. It's hard to see the backside. My eyes are here and the back's over here. So I probably do a terrible job of styling it every morning. I pretty much just get it wet, comb it over to the side, and call it good. So every now and then I actually have time to style it, but that's not most days. Most days I'm pretty lazy with it. Paul McCartney. Did I do it myself? No, I'm not that talented when it comes to hair. I have a niece who is. My niece is actually a beautician. She doesn't do it. I have a parlor barbershop that I go to here in town. They do it for me. And I have some clippers that I'll freshen up the sides every now and then, but that's about it. And it's just a mohawk. So I've got some wall shaver that I'll use. It only cuts short hair, so it's real easy for me to do. So I'll freshen up the sides every now and then by myself, but no, I don't trust myself to cut it. That's all good, Dave. Can I lay an egg? I don't know. I've never tried. Probably not. Oh, that's funny. I wish I could lay an egg. I feel like that would be a trick that people would pay to see. Like a man who lays eggs. That would be interesting. All right, you guys, I got to call it a day. Get this stuff finished. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will be on tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for Sunday finishing work. And I will be back here as always. Well, no, next Saturday I won't be here. Next Saturday I have a craft fair. So I may be on Sunday. I'm going to try to do some projects during the week this week. I have another job that's also similar to this where I work in home renovations. I used to be a marketing copywriter. Then AI took my job, so I now work in home renovations. So I'm in furniture restoration. So I'm going to be doing that during the week. But my shop is right next door to my day job, so it works out really well. So I'm going to try to get some projects finished that I can still do finishing work on Sunday. But Saturday next week, I will not be doing Saturday staining because I've got a craft fair to go to on Friday and Saturday. Hey, absolutely won't let you down. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. You all take care, and I'll see you tomorrow morning or next Saturday or next Sunday, whatever. You know what I'm saying. All right, you guys. I'm out of here. Bye.